You're listening to The Rich Life Revolution with me, Michelle Cooper. My mission is to empower you to step into your next level of wealthy. You'll hear all the deets, a little bit of inspiration, and real life takeaways so that you can create your own rich life revolution. Let's dig in. Hey everyone, welcome to The Rich Life Revolution. This is episode 33. This is a special number for me, got to be honest. In numerology, I am a 33. Jesus was a 33. So it's a special little moment for me. In this, 33 is my number. It's my jam. It's what I stand for. It's everything. If numerology means anything to you, you'll know what I'm talking about. And so I hope some magic's going to come through for you guys today in the recording of this podcast. So I want to talk about dropping the fight. You may have seen a social media post of me where I show a picture of me now compared to a picture of me 2019. I am 100 pounds heavier. I look like a completely different person. It's not just the weight. It is the energy. It is the vibrancy. It is everything. And when people see pictures of me now, 2023, 2024, many people comment, wow, you've lost a lot of weight. How did you do that? That's the number one question I get. A lot of things went into my weight loss journey, and it's not overnight. This was like a 3-year experience for me. But really, if I'm really truly honest, now I did a lot of things, as I said, but if I'm truly honest, what I've come to understand is that I had to drop the fight. I was fighting to drop the weight. So when people say to me, how'd you drop the weight? What do I need to do? I always say, you got to drop the fight. Because I realized I was fighting. I was fighting the world. I was fighting myself. I was fighting my body. I was fighting everything. You might think this is about weight loss. This episode is not about weight loss. You're wrong. If that's what you're thinking, you're like, I don't want to talk about this. I'm not interested. This is not about weight loss. Weight is just a external thing that was here to show me something. A few years ago, I became clearly aware that I was fighting my way through life, even though I called it being a high achiever. This breakthrough happened with my coach, Dr. Eugene Choi, who is amazing. If you want to spend some time with an incredible human being and phenomenal coach, get involved in his world. We have an episode, I don't know what number it is, but we'll link it in the show notes so you can get to know Eugene better. But I had a moment in Oceanside, California, love that little town, where Eugene helped me see that I was fighting my way through life. And not only was I fighting my way through life, but I was being a high achiever that I was extremely proud of and wore like a fucking tiara. Okay. So my life has not been easy. And that's not unusual. We've all faced some kind of hardship, some kind of things that, have happened. And my life is not short of crappy situations that have happened. And there's a lot of different kinds, but it's not the things that have happened in my life, because those aren't unusual. People die, things happen, there's trauma, there's situations, marriages fall apart, people leave the country, like things happen, right? It's not those situations, it's the meaning that we create about life and the interpretation that we turn it into that delivers our reality, our lived experience. So when I was helped to see that my high achieving label was actually fear and fighting, everything changed. Like everything. It was a waterfall moment for me. Like it wasn't even just a light bulb. It wasn't an aha. It was like a completely destroyed how I viewed myself and my life and my experience. That's really why I lost weight. And this was a journey. This was not overnight. It's not like I woke up the next day and was like, oh, look, I'm 20 pounds lighter. No. And you might be thinking, yeah, sure, that's great, Michelle. I'm glad you had this experience, but just tell me what I need to do to lose weight, or tell me what I need to do to stop the fighting. But fighting your way through life, like in my experience of being this high achieving individual, fighting was disguised as other things. What could it be disguised of in your life? Here's some really common ones. Some of these are mine. Well, a lot of them are mine. Let's be honest. And there's probably more, right? My number one way of fighting the world was by overworking. So this disguised itself as being the A game team member, the A game employee, the star employee, the amazing business owner, the $1 million boss babe, the whatever it was. It was overworking. It was me doing whatever it takes to get the job done. In fact, when I was given an opportunity to work for an incredible mentor and coach, somebody that I looked up to immensely, and he invited me to go work in his business, I remember listening to the Imagine Dragons song, Whatever It Takes, and that became my motto for life. I basically had a more than full-time job and a more than full-time business, and I just did it all. Whatever it takes to get the job done. That became who I was. I embodied that. And everybody knew me as that as well. Whether that was on my roller derby team, working for this guy, being the leader in my business, or any number of the jobs I've held throughout my life. Whatever it takes to get the job done, I'm there. Could also look like or disguised as over delivering. This need to wow people. And this can include things like undervaluing your time and energy, over delivering. Now, there's nothing wrong with the approach of under promising and over delivering. That's not what I'm saying. But when you're over delivering, because there's this need in you to wow people, there could be an inherent lack that you're working from, which was my story. Overgiving. This is disguised as no boundaries for your time, money, or energy. This was reflected to me last year by several of my team members who said, Michelle, you're being too generous. You are overgiving. I had to look at that. Could mean overly competitive, winning at all costs. I'm a highly competitive person and I wore that like a badge of honor. What's the difference between overly competitive and just competitive? I don't know. Maybe because you get pissy because you lost at Jenga. That could have been me. Overdoing, doing all the things instead of rest and recovery, doing the kickboxing, the running, the Peloton workouts, the stretch class, the swimming, the walking my dogs 10 miles a day. Like you name it, there was a time in my weight loss journey, my health journey, where I did all of the things, all of the exercise, all of the eating things, all of that. Can also look like over controlling, being too rigid with yourself, rigid with other people. Like really over controlling often comes from a lack of trust. So in our societies, often these things that I just mentioned above are put on a pedestal and held up as an example of what to do and how to be. That was my story. I was held up as an example of an A game player, of an incredible business owner, of a wonderfully generous leader. These are other people's words, not mine. Of a highly competitive athlete and of somebody who could like win at the doing Olympics. But what I was fighting was flow and ease and really nature, the seasonality of business and life, the natural progression. So what's the first step? Because I want to give you some steps, right? The first step is awareness and being open to this concept even. Because you might be sitting there going, no, I'm sorry, I'm an alpha. This is me. This is what I do. Just being open and curious. Just being willing to look at it. So much of my self-worth was caught up in my reputation. This reputation of being a star team member, of a high-achieving business owner, and a family member or a friend who would do whatever it took. It really hurt me to look at that and see it as something else. And I needed a lot of support to do that. But once I did, everything changed. You see, our external circumstances are a reflection of what is going on internally. And so when I was over 300 pounds, there was something going on internally that I wasn't looking at, that I was ignoring. When I look at those pictures, on the outside, my life might have looked super glamorous. I was traveling all over the place. I worked for an incredibly amazing individual. I had a thriving business that hit 7 figures that year. I was deeply unhappy. I was incredibly hurt and wounded. And my worth came from what I accomplished, what I was doing, not from who I was being. Today, I'm happier than I've ever been in my entire life. Is everything perfect? Absolutely not. But I am aware. I am awake. I invite you to take that first step and look within, because the solution is not externally only. The external is a component. It starts with you being open to this concept, even. Just take that first step, look within, be willing to see, be willing to look at this, and be willing to look for support. Because if you're really going to go deep on this, you're going to need some support. I would love to hear if this resonates with you, if this spoke to you, if you got a little nugget of gold out of it, because this is our life's work. Working at Denny's or working in your business or working at your corporate job is not your life's work. This is your life's work. Self-awareness, self-actualization is your life's work. I'm Michelle Cooper. Thanks for hanging out with me on the Rich Life Revolution podcast. I hope you have an amazing day and hit me up in the DMs. Can't wait to hear from you. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you got at least one gold nugget today. Be sure to grab your copy of the Rich Life Revolution workbook to help you set the foundation for your next level of wealthy. Get it now at richliferevolution.ca, and I'll see you later.